feels like a heart that already knows where it wants to go. But something or someone keeps standing in the doorway trying to block the path. Spirit is saying it plainly they are in love with you, truly. But a third party is fighting hard to keep them stuck. And the word of today is discernment, because you are being asked to feel what is true underneath all the noise. The first card stepping forward is the Lovers. And wow, this tells me the love is real. Not imagined, not one-sided in spirit, not something weak that disappears the second pressure shows up. This person feels the pull toward you deeply. I feel heart, body, thought, and soul all leaning in the same direction when it comes to you. There is real tenderness here, real longing, real recognition. When they think about what love means, your energy enters the picture in a way that does not feel casual at all. And right beside that, I am seeing the devil. That matters, because it tells me there is a binding force around this situation, a pressure, an attachment, a controlling influence, a pattern that keeps trying to hold this person in place even while their heart is waking up to something truer. I keep hearing one sentence clearly. I know what I feel for you, but I am tangled in something. That line carries the whole reading, because this is not only a matter of timing, this is entanglement. The kind that drains clarity, the kind that uses fear, guilt, duty, manipulation, or emotional confusion to keep someone from moving freely toward what their soul actually wants. The energy around you feels like the star, and I love that because it tells me your presence is healing to them. Clean, pure, honest. You may represent truth in their life in a way the third-party energy does not. Around you, they can feel what real alignment is, real peace, real heart space. That is why the contrast is so strong. Your energy does not trap them. It opens them, it reminds them who they are when they are not carrying someone else's emotional weight. Then I am seeing the Seven of Swords, and yes, this says there is hidden strategy around the third party. I do not like this energy. It feels like somebody working behind the scenes to keep access, control, emotional dependence, or influence. This may not always look dramatic on the surface. Sometimes it looks like guilt, sometimes it looks like playing the victim. Sometimes it looks like obligation, sometimes it looks like confusion being fed on purpose, so this person never feels clear enough to choose. But Spirit is showing me that the interference is real. Another message keeps rising. The third party knows they are slipping away. That matters, because I think the fight has become more intense precisely because the bond between you and this person is not shallow. Somebody can feel the shift. They can feel this person's heart changing. They can feel where the real pull is going. And instead of releasing with grace, they are resisting hard. Then the Eight of Swords appears. And wow, this tells me the person you are asking about feels trapped mentally and emotionally. They may know deep down what they want. They may know what they feel. They may even know where the truth lives. But acting on it is another thing entirely right now. There is fear here, overthinking here. The sense of being bound by consequences, by emotional pressure, by the story the third party keeps feeding them. I feel a soul trying to move, and a mind being scared back into the cage. And then the Two of Cups steps in, which is beautiful because it confirms again that what exists between you and this person is real in spirit. The third party may create noise, delay, conflict, guilt, but they do not create the bond. The bond is its own living truth. So the message opening this reading is this: they are in love with you, and that love is deep, clean, and spiritually true. But there is a third-party force fighting hard to keep them stuck through pressure, fear, or emotional entanglement. The situation is not simple, but the heart underneath it is their soul already knows where it wants to go. And Spirit keeps whispering one last thing here. Discernment is the word of today because not every delay means a lack of love. Sometimes it means there is a battle happening behind the curtain, a battle between truth and control, a battle between soul and fear, a battle between what is alive and what is trying to keep life trapped. That is exactly where this person is now. And the fact that the fight is so strong only confirms how real the love is. Because if this bond meant nothing, nothing would be fighting this hard to stop it. And it feels like somebody trying to walk toward the light while another hand keeps pulling at their sleeve, their guilt, their fear, their sense of duty. That is what this next current feels like, not absence of love, interference, not lack of feeling. Pressure. I feel this person knows in the quiet places of their spirit that what they feel for you is real, but the path between feeling and action has become crowded with someone else's hold. The first card stepping forward is the Eight of Cups in reverse. And wow, this tells me they have not emotionally left what is unhealthy, even though the soul knows it should. That is important. Because sometimes the heart recognizes love, but the nervous system is still trained to stay where it has been controlled, needed, or emotionally bound for too long. I feel this person has one foot in truth and one foot in a place that keeps draining them. They may be tired there, spiritually tired, but still tangled. I keep hearing one sentence very clearly. I know I should move, but every time I try, something pulls me back. That line lands deeply because this tells me the third party energy is not weak. It is persistent, possibly manipulative, possibly emotional, possibly rooted in history, guilt, obligation, or fear of what will happen if this person finally breaks free. The energy around you feels like temperance, and I love that because it tells me your connection does not intensify their chaos. It shows them another way, a clean way, a truthful way. Around you, I feel their spirit breathes differently. Their soul softens. Their inner noise quiets. That is one reason the third party force fights so hard. It can feel the difference. It can feel that your energy brings this person back to themselves. And anything built on control fears the thing that restores freedom. Then I'm seeing the Five of Wands. And yes, there is conflict all around this inner conflict. Mixed messages. Competing pulls. This person may feel emotionally exhausted by trying to keep everybody stable while their own heart goes unheard. I also feel the third party may create confusion on purpose, or at least stir enough emotional static that this person never feels fully clear, fully free, or fully safe enough to move toward what they really want. Another message keeps rising strongly. The third party wants access, not truth, that matters so much. Because I do not feel this blocking energy is rooted in pure love. It feels rooted in possession, in fear, in control, in the refusal to lose hold. And that is very different. Then the King of Cups appears, and wow, that tells me the person you are asking about does have deep feeling for you, even if they are not expressing it cleanly yet. Their love may be quieter than their struggle right now, but it is there strongly. I feel they think about you from a very sincere place. They may imagine peace with you, honesty with you, the kind of closeness that does not require them to betray themselves just to keep someone else comfortable. And then the final card stepping forward is the Chariot. Beautiful because this says movement is still possible, difficult, yes, blocked at times, yes, but possible. So the message in this next movement is this: they are in love with you, but a third party is using pressure, emotional hooks, or old patterns to keep them from moving freely. The bond between you and this person is not false. It is being resisted, and Spirit keeps whispering one last thing here. Discernment is still the word of today. Because what you are seeing may look like hesitation, but underneath it may actually be struggle. What looks like silence may actually be someone trying to untangle themselves. What looks like delay may actually be the soul gathering strength. And I keep feeling this too. The fight would not be this intense if your connection were weak. The resistance is proof of impact. The blockage is proof of direction. The pressure is proof that something real is trying to move and something false is trying to hold it still. So breathe, stay clear. Stay anchored in truth because love is present here. What is missing right now is freedom. And freedom is what this heart is slowly, painfully, spiritually learning it cannot live without anymore. Spirit shows one more layer. This person may even feel ashamed that the third party weight has shaped their choices this long. Not ashamed of loving you, ashamed that they have had so little room to protect that love. That shame slows them down, but it does not cancel the truth. It only proves how bound they have felt. And now they are learning something hard, and holy love without freedom is not peace. It is a cage. That realization is growing stronger every day now. It will matter very soon deeply. There is a deeper ache in this part of the reading, like someone standing at a window, seeing the road they truly want, and still hearing another voice behind them saying, stay, stay, stay. That is the energy here. This is not a heart that does not know what it feels. This is a heart that knows, but keeps getting caught in nets made of fear, guilt, history, and emotional pressure. The first card stepping forward is the Lovers. And wow, this tells me again that the love they feel for you is not confused in its essence. The confusion is in the situation. The love itself is clean. The soul knows where it leans. The spirit knows where it softens. The body knows where it comes alive. When this person thinks of you, I feel relief and ache arriving together. Relief because your energy feels true. Ache because truth is not yet moving as freely as it wants to. I keep hearing one sentence clearly. My heart already chose. My fear just hasn't caught up. That line lands like thunder because it tells me the deepest battle here is not between love and no love. It is between love and bondage, between truth and conditioning. Between the souls, yes, and the old chains still wrapped around their mind. The energy around you feels like the Sunday, and I love that because it tells me you illuminate things in them that the third party cannot control. Around you, they remember themselves. They remember joy. They remember honesty. They remember what it feels like when connection does not come with a hidden cost. Spirit keeps showing me that your presence makes the fog thin out, and that is exactly why the controlling energy fights harder. Light threatens anything built in shadow, then I'm seeing the devil in reverse. And that is powerful because it says the chains are not permanent. Strong, yes. Heavy, yes, but not permanent. I feel this person is beginning to see the prison for what it is. Maybe they once called it loyalty, maybe they called it responsibility, maybe they called it just the way things are. But now the spirit is naming it more honestly. Restriction, fear, emotional binding, and once the soul starts calling a cage by its real name, freedom gets closer. Another message keeps rising strongly. The third party knows they are losing emotional control. That matters. Because the fighting energy is not random, it is reactive. It is sensing that this person is changing, waking up, pulling back inwardly from what once kept them obedient. Then the Nine of Wands appears, and wow, that tells me the person you are asking about is exhausted. They may feel tired in a deep way, tired of conflict, tired of walking on emotional glass, tired of carrying loyalty where peace is absent, tired of knowing what their heart wants and still feeling blocked from moving toward it. I feel them getting worn down by the strain of staying split. And then the final card stepping forward is the Ace of Swords, beautiful, sharp, sacred. Because this says truth is cutting through, not all at once maybe, not without pain maybe, but clearly. So the message in this next movement is this: they are in love with you, and that love has become the force that is exposing the third party hold for what it really is. The situation is still tangled, yes, but the illusion inside it is weakening. The soul is seeing more clearly now. The heart is speaking more clearly now, and spirit keeps whispering one last thing here: discernment is still the word of today. Because you are being asked to see the difference between someone who does not care and someone who cares deeply but is still trapped in a spiritual battle, they are only now learning how to name. That difference matters. I keep feeling this too. The third party may be louder right now, but loud does not mean stronger forever. Control often gets louder when it feels itself slipping, and that is what is happening here. Something is slipping, something is ending inside them. Not love for you, dependence on what keeps them small. That shift is holy. Even if it is messy, it is painful, even if it is necessary. It is slow, even if the soul wishes it were faster, but it is real. And once a person begins to see who is feeding their fear and who is feeding their spirit, the path eventually changes. This heart is not asleep anymore. That is the turning point. Now, the only question is how long it will take for the outer life to catch up to what the inner life already knows. And I feel that catching up has begun quietly, irreversibly. So breathe, stay clear. Do not confuse delay with lack of love, because the love is here. What this person is fighting for now, even if they do not yet know how to show it perfectly, is the right to live where their soul can breathe. And every time they think of you, they remember what breathing feels like. That is why it matters. There is a different kind of pressure over this part of the reading, not loud on the surface, but heavy in the spirit. It feels like somebody trying to walk toward the truth while an old bond, an old promise, an old fear, or an old emotional pattern keeps wrapping around their ankles. I want to say this clearly. The love they feel for you is not the confusion. The confusion comes from the web around them. The love is simple. The situation is not. The first card stepping forward is the Eight of Swords. And wow, this tells me their mind is one of the biggest battlegrounds right now. They may already know what their heart wants, but the thoughts around it are crowded. What if they hurt someone? What if they make the wrong move? What if they lose control of their life? What if the third party turns everything upside down? Spirit keeps showing me a person who has been trained to doubt their own truth the moment it asks for freedom. That is why they look still from the outside while everything inside is shaking. I keep hearing one sentence clearly: I know what love feels like, but I am still scared of the cost. That line lands hard because this is not just about feelings. It is about consequence. It is about the fear of choosing what is true when something else has built roots inside their guilt, duty, or history. The energy around you feels like the star. And I love that because it tells me you remain the clear place in their spirit. When life gets noisy, your energy does not add to the chaos, it cuts through it. Around you, they can feel what honesty feels like. Not perfect ease, but honest ease. The kind that comes when the soul is not performing. That is why this bond matters so much. You are not only desired, you are a living reminder that love can be clean. Then I'm seeing the Queen of Swords. And this is important because it says truth is sharpening in this connection. The fantasy is thinning. The excuses are wearing out. I feel like either you or spirit itself is forcing a cleaner view now. The third party may still be strong in influence, yes, but the emotional fog is weaker than before. This person is seeing more, seeing who drains them, seeing who frees them, seeing who asks them to betray themselves, and who invites them to become more of themselves. That kind of seeing changes everything. Even before action shows it, another message keeps rising strongly. The third party may hold their fear, but you hold their heart. That matters so much because it tells me exactly where the split is. One energy keeps them bound. One energy keeps them true. That is the battle. Then the Five of Pentacles appears, and wow, this says the third party situation may be built on lack, not love, lack of security, lack of emotional courage, lack of freedom, lack of truth. I feel this person may have stayed because leaving looked too painful, too complicated, or too costly, but staying has become painful too. Spirit keeps showing me that the soul is no longer being nourished there. It is being managed there. And the difference between those two things is becoming impossible for them to ignore. And then the final card stepping forward is Strength, Beautiful, because this says they are beginning to gather inner power slowly, quietly, but truly. So the message in this next movement is this: they are in love with you, and the third party is fighting hard to keep them stuck through fear, guilt, emotional habit, or control. But the soul is not asleep anymore. Truth is getting stronger, discernment is getting sharper, and the part of them that knows what real love feels like is no longer willing to stay buried forever. And Spirit keeps whispering one last thing here. Discernment is still the word of today, because not every obstacle is meant to last. Some obstacles show up to reveal what has power, and what only has control. Those are not the same thing. Love has power, fear has control. And this person is starting to feel the difference in a way they cannot unfeel now. That is why the energy is changing. Even if the outer world is slow, even if the third party is loud, even if the path still looks tangled, inside, something holy has happened. They know. They know where the peace is. They know where the life is. They know where the truth is. Now the prayer becomes courage, and courage, once born, does not stay small forever. It grows. It rises. It reaches for freedom with the same hands that once shook under pressure. That is what I see beginning here. Not the final move yet, but the strengthening before it. And that strengthening matters because this kind of love deserves more than a trapped heart. It deserves a free one, a truthful one, a brave one. That is the direction Spirit is moving them toward now, step by step, breath by breath, truth by truth, for real. That is the feeling here. This person's soul is no longer agreeing with the life, bond, pressure, or emotional prison that keeps trying to hold them in place. They may still look quiet on the outside. They may still seem delayed. They may still be moving too slowly for your heart. But Spirit is showing me something very important. The inside of them is no longer loyal to what keeps them stuck. The first card stepping forward is the Chariot, and wow, this tells me movement is alive inside them, even if the outer world has not fully caught up yet. Their will is waking up, their spirit is beginning to push against what used to keep them frozen. I feel like this person is getting tired of giving their power away to guilt, fear, pressure, or someone else's emotional grip. They may not have everything figured out yet, but they are no longer fully asleep in the trap. That matters more than you know. I keep hearing one sentence very clearly. I can feel myself pulling away from what drains me. That line lands deep because it tells me the shift has already started, not perfectly, not publicly, but spiritually. The energy around you feels like the Sunday, and I love that because it tells me you are still the clear place in their heart. When they think of you, things feel simpler, truer, more alive. Your energy does not make their soul shrink. It expands, it warms. It reminds them there is another way to live and love. That is exactly why the third party fights so hard, because your light does not feed the old system. It exposes it. Then I'm seeing the Four of Pentacles in reverse. And this is powerful because it says the grip is weakening. The hold may still exist. Yes, but it is not as secure as it once was. I feel emotional control slipping, old tactics working less, old guilt feeling less holy, old fear sounding less convincing. Spirit keeps showing me that once a person tastes real soul truth, what once controlled them starts losing its magic. That is what is happening here. Another message keeps rising strongly. They are starting to see that staying stuck is also a choice that matters so much. Because for a long time, this may have felt like something happening to them. Now it is beginning to feel like something they must answer, and that changes everything. Then the Seven of Wands appears, and wow, this tells me there is resistance rising in them. Now, real resistance. They may still be quiet, but inwardly they are pushing back. They are questioning things more, protecting their heart more, withdrawing energy from what once demanded too much from them. I feel like the third party can sense this too. That is why the struggle may feel more intense right now. Control always gets louder when it knows it is losing ground. And then the final card stepping forward is the Ace of Swords. Beautiful, clean, true. Because this says clarity is winning, not overnight maybe, but truly. So the message in this next movement is this: they are in love with you, and the third party is fighting hard to keep them stuck. But something in them has begun to rise against that hold. Their spirit is no longer willing to stay bent forever. Discernment is still the word of today, because what they are learning now is the difference between obligation and truth, between emotional pressure and real love, between being kept and being chosen. And Spirit keeps whispering one last thing here. The battle is not proof that the love is weak. The battle is proof that the soul has begun to move. Because if they were truly gone, truly numb, truly resigned, nothing would be shaking like this. But it is shaking. The old hold is shaking. The old story is shaking. The old fear is shaking. And underneath all of that, love is still there, clear, steady, calling them toward a freer life. I keep feeling this very strongly. Your connection is becoming a mirror they can no longer look away from. In you, they see what truth feels like, and because of that, everything false in the other situation is becoming harder to survive. That is why this matters. That is why the pressure is building. That is why Spirit keeps saying, do not mistake slow movement for no movement. Sometimes the deepest escape begins in silence, in inner decision, in the first private breath that says, I cannot keep living like this. That breath has already happened. Now life will have to answer it. Soon. And one more truth is rising here. Love is not the thing trapping them. Love is the thing trying to set them free. That is why your energy stays strong in their chest. It is not an escape fantasy. It is a compass. And every time they feel it, the cage shakes harder. The next step may be closer than it looks now. Yes. This last movement feels like not confusion about love, not confusion about the bond. The love is clear. The bond is clear. What remains is the battle between what is true and what still tries to hold this person in place. The first card stepping forward is Judgment, and wow, this is the Great Awakening. The soul can no longer sleep inside the old story. This person knows now that what they feel for you is not passing, not imagined, not something they can stuff back down and call bad timing. Number Spirit is making it plain. They are in love with you deeply, quietly, truly. And once a soul admits that level of truth, every false attachment starts shaking. I keep hearing one sentence very clearly: I cannot stay bound to what is not love forever. That line carries the whole ending because it tells me the deepest shift here is not only that they miss you, want you, or long for you. It is that they know the difference now between pressure and peace, between guilt and devotion, between being controlled and being spiritually met. The energy around you feels like the star, and I love that because it tells me your presence remains a lighthouse in their spirit. You are not the storm in their life, you are the clear sky after it. When they think of you, I feel honesty, release, tenderness, and the kind of emotional truth that does not require performance. You do not pull them deeper into confusion. You call them higher. That is why the third party fights so hard. Control always resists the light that reveals it. Then I'm seeing the devil in reverse. And this is powerful because it says the chains are weakening. Not gone yet, maybe, but weakening. The hold is not as holy as it once looked. The fear is not as convincing as it once sounded. The guilt is not as noble as it once pretended to be. Spirit keeps showing me that this person is waking up to the difference between what has access to them and what has truth with them. Those are not the same. Another message keeps rising strongly: the third party can delay them, but cannot own their heart. That matters so much. Because the heart is already elsewhere, the soul is already elsewhere, the real love is already elsewhere, and that elsewhere is you. Then the Chariot appears. And wow, this tells me movement is not only possible, it is coming. Maybe not in the exact form or timing your human heart wants this minute, but spiritually, the wheels have already started turning. This person is gathering will, gathering nerve, gathering the strength to stop letting fear speak louder than truth. I feel this very strongly. The stuck energy is real, but it is no longer comfortable. It is breaking down from the inside. And then the final card stepping forward is the Two of Cups, beautiful, simple. Sacred because this says the ending of this story is not decided by the third party. It is decided by what is real, and what is real is love, mutual soul recognition, a bond that stayed alive even under pressure. So the deepest message in this final movement is this: yes, they are in love with you. And yes, a third party has fought hard to keep them stuck. But discernment is still the word of today because you are being shown the deeper truth. Delay is not the same as defeat. Interference is not the same as the bond failing. Pressure is not proof that love is weak. In fact, sometimes pressure reveals how real love truly is. And Spirit keeps whispering one last thing here: what is built on fear must fight to survive. What is built on truth only needs time to rise. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. And if your heart has been tired, if your spirit has been asking whether this love was real, if you have been confused by the distance, the silence, the slowness, hear this clearly: the third party may have had influence, they may have had history, they may have had tactics, they may have had tactics, they may have had fear on their side, but you have something they do not have. You have the part of this person that is awake. You have the part of this person that feels alive. You have the part of this person that knows what love actually is. And once the awakened heart stops agreeing with the cage, freedom begins. That is where this is going now. Not back into sleep, not back into pretending, not back into a life that suffocates the soul forward slowly if needed, painfully if needed, truthfully at last, because real love may be delayed, but it does not stay buried forever. And Spirit says too, what is meant in truth will not be erased by noise. It will keep calling, keep rising, keep asking to be chosen, until somebody answers. What remains is the battle between what is true and what still tries to hold this person in place. The first card stepping forward is Judgment, and wow, this is the Great Awakening. The soul can no longer sleep inside the old story. This person knows now that what they feel for you is not passing, not imagined, not something they can stuff back down and call bad timing. Number spirit is making it plain. They are in love with you deeply, quietly, truly. And once a soul admits that level of truth, every false attachment starts shaking. I keep hearing one sentence